So I went to a local comic book show. There was no line. It was only $5. I went in and I stayed. And what did I do? I bought some comic books, including a big key. Let's break it all down next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Bronzeville_comics, Whatnot, Bronzeville_comics. By the time this video comes out, it's going to be a few weeks before my next Whatnot show. I'm taking a little bit of a Olympic hiatus. So we'll be back, I don't know, I think it's like Monday, August 12th-ish, somewhere around there. At any rate, you can also check out my eBay store as well as my email. And we, on this channel, I come here, we bring content 4 times a week, 10 a.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. So subscribe and check out the videos. I went to the local Route 110 comic show out in Melville, New York, out on Long Island. And it's a show that is held the third Sunday of every month. And there's some great vendors there. There were a lot of people there. A decent crowd. So let's take a quick look at the show.
I mean, if the computer is 3 miles away and it's 5 minutes, it's really 5 minutes. Yes, exactly. It's not here an hour to go 3 miles like it is here.
Well, that's it. I'm telling you, I've been doing this a long time. That is the nicest copy I've ever had. I've sold many 2 copies of that already.
Oh, this is yours?
It might be, yeah.
Let me see. Let me check.
So I spent most of the early part of the show doing some dollar bin diving, found some nice books. I talk about, if you're kind of new to the channel, I talk about the 4 S's of breaking down collections and visits to shows or flea markets or whatever. And it's slab, spec, save, sell. I don't know if I don't think I have any slab options in this submission. So I just picked up, I got this Legends Dark Cloud #1. This is Amalgam, when DC and Marvel combined and they created characters that were amalgamations of characters from both companies. This is a combination, in case you haven't figured it out, of Batman and Wolverine. And that's his books are the best in that series. Detective Comics, I think I have this, but this is probably an upgrade. This is a pretty nice copy. These were $2 bins. Action Comics, what number is this? 596, right? And that's the first Silver Banshee. That is going in the old spec pile. As is this, New X-Men 129. This is the first cover appearance of Phantom X. His first appearance, was it 124, 125? I forget exactly. Was a huge Boom spec book. That kind of blew up in value during the comic boom. And potential, it's possible. I won't even say potential, it's possible. I mean, maybe not likely, but possible that he could be used as one of the X-Men. Speaking of X-Men, Wolverine number 17, this classic John Byrne cover, and it's a newsstand. Another classic cover, Uncanny X-Men 248. This is the first cover that Jim Lee did on X-Men. Also a newsstand. Another book. This book got hot when We saw the poster for the Fantastic Four movie. It is Fantastic Four 209, the first appearance in comics of Herbie the Robot, who first appeared in the 1970s animated series. Because contractually, I believe he was potentially going to be in another project. Human Torch wasn't part of that series. It looks like Herbie the Robot's going to be part of the movie. They're going to begin filming the movie in just a few weeks after Deadpool and Wolverine come out, and I saw some theories that the reason that they're doing that is because they don't want, potentially, because they're going to be filming in London, they don't want set photos that leak out to potentially give away anything that happens in X-Men and Wolverine, because there could be other variations, because it's going to be in a different reality, the Fantastic Four movie, than in the MCU proper, that there could be other versions of the superheroes that we are familiar with. This is going to go in the spec pile. This is Fantastic Four 211, the first appearance of Terrax the Tamer, who was the fourth Herald of Galactus. I believe he was the fourth. This is how is it the Millennium Edition? Yeah, Millennium Edition, a reprint DC did of House of Secrets 92, the first appearance of Swamp Thing. It's not a facsimile because the ads aren't the same. The ads are current day ads from when this book came out. But I always like the reprints as giveaways because it gives people an opportunity to read these classic stories. Oops. Fortunately, that wasn't a potential slab. Adam Hughes cover. Lady Rawhide #1 from Topps Comics. This was a spin-off from their Zorro series. And Lady Rawhide debuted in that series, and Adam Hughes did the cover here. And we can see his autograph right there in the tree, because you're all looking at the tree right now. Another Detective Comics. This is 559. Pretty cool. Green Arrow, Black Canary, and Catwoman. And I like to, when I put books into the PC, because my PC is fairly vast, and these are new books to me, so I haven't read them before. So they kind of go into boxes I have labeled to read, and I put them in chronological order in those boxes. So theoretically, I'll read them. Now, we saw the Legends of Darkclaw. This is Darkclaw Adventures, which is the same character, the amalgamation of Batman and Wolverine, but in the format of the Batman Adventures animated series. So those are the two most popular books in that run. Spider-Boy was popular for a while for reasons that had nothing to do with the Spider-Boy. That was an amalgamation of Spider-Man and Superboy Connor Kent. X-Factor 19, the first appearance of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, first cover appearance of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and it's also a newsstand. That book got a little bit of heat coming off the X-Men 97 series. This is a really sharp copy of 52, number 11. This is the first appearance of the Kate Kane version of Batwoman. There was the Kathy Kane version, who kind of ironic, like how it worked out. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but Kathy Kane debuted in the 1950s as kind of a quasi-sidekick to Batman and Robin and a romantic interest for Batman in response to the allegations that Frederick Wortham, who wrote Seduction of the Innocent, made in his book, that there was an implied homosexual relationship between Batman and Robin. So she was introduced, and they were romantically involved for the time, through the early Silver Age, when the Kathy Kane Batwoman was then. And then they launched a new Batwoman, Kate Kane, and of course there was a TV series about that, and she is a lesbian. So I wonder if that was intentional on DC's part to kind of play on the reason that the character existed in the first place. Then I picked up this, X-Men 283, Uncanny X-Men 283. This is the first full appearance of Bishop. He's on the cover in 282, but this is his first full appearance, and it's also a newsstand. These newsstands in this particular group, that's going to be in my spec. If we see Bishop at some point, I needed 2 issues of this series. I didn't even realize it. I might actually have it in the collection I just picked up, but it's Harley Quinn number 16. I needed 16 and 26. I saw 16, and I said, hey, I'll grab that. That will go into the personal collection. Oh, the personal collection's down there. I have 3 piles going. Then this one, I saw this. This was $10. I got a little bit off on it. It's a nice copy of Uncanny X-Men 450, which is the first time that Laura Kinney X-23 appears in the Uncanny X-Men title. And Deadpool and Wolverine is coming out in just a couple of days. And if you saw the recent trailer, well, if you know, you know. So, yeah, there's that. This one I'm going to put in a spec pile. I figured $10. This is Incredible Hulk 228. It's the first appearance of Karla Sofen as the second Moonstone. She was a member of the Thunderbolts. But the Thunderbolts in the comics is not going to be anything like the movie Thunderbolts. The movie Thunderbolts are characters that have appeared previously in MCU, mostly as villains, but not always. Well, kind of with Bucky Barnes. You know, he was a villain as Winter Soldier. Anyway, in the comics, it was a group of new heroes who we found out, I think it was the end of their first issue, not their first appearance in Hulk 447, but in their first issue, that they were actually, these new heroes were actually old villains. And, you know, with the same powers, and then it was revealed who they were, and they were working with Norman Osborn, etc. They're not going down that path, but I still said, you know, for the price, decent book, I'll pick it up, and, you know, maybe they'll use her at some point. This, unfortunately, Forever People #2, this is the second cameo. No, it's not. It's the second cameo appearance, or the second appearance of Darkseid and the first appearance of Mantis. Y'all thought her first appearance was in Avengers 114. This is a different Mantis. About the same time. I think this this character came first. Yeah, Mantis is your master too. Unfortunately, this is missing the centerfold. It does not affect the story, but that's going to go in the Givey pile. Give that one away. And then I picked up 5 copies of different Bronze Age Wonder Woman books. No keys, but they were $2 each. I checked my checklist and I said, let me take those. That's going in the PC. I'm very low-key working on the Wonder... Like, I have all these DC runs that I'm kind of low-key working on. I see them at dollar bins, or I get them as part of collections. Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Brave and the Bold are the basic ones that I'm kind of working on. Then there was another Wonder Woman in there. This was in a $2 bin. This classic Brian Boland cover. This, and it's a decent copy, Frank Miller Daredevil, 188 with this great cover with Black Widow. This X-Factor 1 in a newsstand. So this is late 80s. Or is it early 90s? I think it's early 90s. That's harder to get in a newsstand at that point. This, unfortunately, Flash 141, first appearance of the Black Flash, or third appearance, first cover appearance, has a rusted bottom staple. It's a newsstand, but there's a lot of... Like, I didn't even know if the staple's actually still there. It's so rusted. It's water damaged on the bottom. So, what it is, what it is. Firestar #1, her first solo series. Of course, she first appeared in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends #1, which was based on a cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon series. And then she had her first in continuity appearance. What was it? Uncanny X-Men 196, I think. Then Captain America 402, part of the first part of the Cap Wolf storyline, including John Jameson, J. Jonah's son, who is Man-Wolf. I want to read that. I should read that book. This is a really high-grade copy. I'm going to put this in the spec pile. This is a 9.8 contender, but 9.8s aren't worth what they used to be because there's so many of them since the news came out. It's Wonder Man #1. This is his first ongoing series. He had a one-shot a little bit earlier, the Bill Sienkiewicz cover, when he was still wearing like the I don't know, safari jacket, members only jacket, whatever you call that, red jacket. And then you got this somewhat less ridiculous with pouches. He's got pouches, so like he can carry, I don't know, what are you carrying if you're Wonder Man? Keys, wallet, SAG card, I don't know. So anyway, this is #1. The one thing you have to be careful about this book is there is a free poster inside. You gotta make sure the poster is included. At this point in collecting, not a lot of people are pulling posters out like they were, you know, with the centerfold of Batman 181 and those sorts of things. So yeah, that's when we get closer to the series, maybe I'm just gonna put that in the spec pile. It was $2. Another Miller Daredevil, mid-grader of 190, The Resurrection of Elektra. Then another, listen, a 25-cent Avengers. That's a pretty cool cover. And I was looking at this cover, and it was kind of pointing out to me that this is the MCU, right? The three main Avengers, my whole growing up, were Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. Those were the three main Avengers. And then you had Vision. Vision was really in there a lot. And he was the corner box, for crying out loud. For years, he was the corner box. Maybe because they didn't want to confuse, they wouldn't use any of these others. And then we eventually got like the floating heads in the corner box. But Vision was the corner box. I mean, he was this one I got for a couple bucks. Demon 16. The cover is detached. Eesh. So that was kind of it for Dollar Bin Diving, and I was looking around the room, spending a lot of time talking to people, and I was looking at the wall books. Nothing was speaking to me for a lot of them, and I was kind of looking for Silver Age. I wanted a decent Silver Age book, maybe Bronze. Wanted something that kind of like, oh, I want that book. And again, I'm more of a DC collector than a Marvel, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So I saw a book, and I couldn't see the price, but I said, oh, can I see that book? So I got a great deal on this, and it's a book that hasn't been at the top of my list. Like, if I was writing down a list of the books I really wanted, I wouldn't have put this one on there, but I thought the condition was good enough, and the price was good, and I think this is a character. This is a pretty big character, because this is, and see if you can guess before I mention it. This is a character that is part of of our cultural lexicon, right? You may not know who the character is, but you know like what it means. So I picked up a copy of Superboy 68, the first appearance of Bizarro. And we know what Bizarro is, right? Seinfeld talked about Bizarro. We know what it means. And he's been portrayed, you know, in different incarnations. Go back to Super Friends. He was in Superman and Lois. But his first appearance, a lot of people don't realize, it was as a Superboy villain. And it was kind of a one-off. But then it proved popular enough for them to bring Bizarro back. And this book is from 1958. So I estimate it's about a 4, maybe a 4.5. The only thing that I think holds it back is there are some stains on it, and it's got a little bit of fading. If you notice for both Bizarro and Superboy, and I don't think it's a coloring issue like Batman 101, although it could be, because it's hard to tell because I don't see fading in the reds, right? Let me know what you think. If you look real close, there's no fading in the reds or the yellows. I think this may have just been like something DC printed at the time, because Batman 101 has a similar thing where sometimes his costume, the cape and the gloves and the cowl look more gray than blue, and other copies where they look more blue. I'll have to go on and see if there are other copies that look like this. And you can see a couple of stains above Superboy's head there, but nothing major. The back looks pretty good. The staples are really, really solid. So I was really happy with the copy. Centerfold is really solid. And just a point of note, like this, cover detached, the Forever People, where there's no centerfold. Those were $2 books, right? I'm not looking through them, but this is a multi-$100 purchase. So I asked to look through the book. I did the page count. And, you know, I really gave it, you know, the once over, and I was happy with the book. Staples are very clean as well. This is a book from 1958. So just to do a comparison, again, Bizarro is a very well-known character, and one of Superman's main villains. So this is a pretty big key, right? So I'm looking on the CGC census. This book on the CGC census has 769 universal copies. There's a 9.4, a 9.2, 2 9.0s, 2 8.5s. If you want to be in the top 10% of the census, you need a 6.5 to be in the top 10% of the census, right? That's kind of crazy. So 90% of the books that are submitted, and, you know, you can go pretty much all the way down. I don't know about 0.5, but like a 1.8 recently sold for $290. Okay? So it does have value in very low grade. Let's compare it to a Marvel villain of less stature, but whose first appearance came out 7 years later. Stilton Man in Daredevil number 8 in 1965. Stilton Man. Now remember, Bizarro has 769 universal copies on the census. The first Stilton Man, 1,370. Not quite twice as many, but fairly close to it, right? And you wouldn't get that graded really kind of below a 5, right? The top 10% of the census on Daredevil number 8, and this goes to a video I did recently of how difficult it is to find DC keys. Number one, they're older. There aren't as many of them, and they aren't in high grade. To get in the top 10% of the census on the first Stilt Man, you need a 9.2. A 6.5 on that, a 9.2 on the first Stilt Man. And I just pulled some random villain that comic collectors know, but the general public really doesn't, right? The general public kind of has an idea who Bizarro is. And certainly if you've watched any, the TV show at all, you know who Bizarro is, right? This book is incredibly hard to find, right? And this isn't a 6.5, but, like a 6.5. Good, solid mid-grader. Top 10% of the census, right? I think this is just like maybe a few creases and a stain away from being like a 6. It's really a nice copy. So I was really happy with this. That kind of capped off my day. And I always like to get one nice purchase for the personal collection. This is not going anywhere. And if you notice when I show books on video, I do have these little stickers with the bottom corner there 58. This is from 1958. And so when I sort everything, I know exactly where this goes. I have piles of books that I have to put in order. And when I eventually have time to read books, I'm not sure when that's going to be. Read enough books to get through that. I want to kind of do them in order. I want to read my 1972 books first, and then maybe my May 46 books. Actually, I do probably whatever's older than that because there aren't many of those. And then kind of go in chronological order, because one of the things that I kind of look forward to doing is getting, into the mid 70s when I was really, as a kid, really like diving into comics, and re-experiencing the ads and, the characters and stories that I never read that I saw ads for, that sort of thing. So first Superboy, or the first Bizarro and Superboy 68 kind of caps off the afternoon for me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I know some people, some followers of the channel see me. A couple people came up to me at the Route 110 show. So it was great to get out there, and I really wanted to get out because, as I said, I'm taking a little bit of a comic book hiatus. There's still going to be content on the channel, but there's not going to be whatnot, and I'm probably not going to be out hunting for a couple of weeks. So, which is fine. I probably should spend more time just sorting through what I have, because I'm still trying to process this very large collection that I just brought in. So, at any rate, I'd like to thank you all for stopping by tonight, or this morning, or whenever you're watching this. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying, until next time, enjoy your comics.